Handle the letter. I'm not on camera yet, am I?
Yes.
I'll be back. Attention.
Call the meeting to order. Will Clerk, please read the statement for the meeting.
Adequate notice of this regular meeting was provided to the public and the press on January 19, 2025. JS 10-24-7.
Thank you. Would you please all rise and join me in the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Sherry,
Here.
Councilmember Di Benedetto,
Present.
Councilmember Higgins,
Here.
Councilmember Sparta,
Present.
Council President Rizzuto.
Here. Before I move into our agenda, I'd like to bring to the public's attention a loss that I learned of one of our citizens following our last meeting. I didn't know this particular lady very well. I met her a few times. I can tell you that this person was honored by the community, by the township. And I'd like to make the public aware that passing of Mrs. Ellen Mixner, who was formerly a senior, a senior
Senior of the year.
Senior of the Year, thank you, in 2021. She honored us as a hometown hero in 2022. The times that I encountered her and met her, she was a very lovely lady, very happy. And I think the thing that I would treasure most if I were a member of her family was the way that she was honored by her friends. Everybody seemed to gather around her. They liked to be in her company. And she was very, very active in responding to these people in terms of providing services for the people who were not able to get food coming around to their homes. And she seemed to be very active in any number of activities. She made herself active with Project ELF, with the Vernon Police Department, and as I said, the church pantry. And during the COVID period, she was very active in getting food and services to her members of the community. The fact that she was so honored by the people who recognized her for her activities, as I said, speaks highly, and I think should be considered very, very strongly with honor by her own family. So with that, I would like to ask for a moment of silence in memory of Ellen Mixner. Thank you. This evening, we will have is there a presentation on LoSAP?
Yes, the fire commissioner is here. He wants to update the council how LoSAP has been
Yes,
affecting them.
okay. I have read over the report. It seems quite extensive and I think quite promising.
The report that you received was actually from Kevin Duffy from the first aid.
Mhm.
He is out of the country, was not available to make it. So he wanted to make sure that you were all aware of how it's actually affecting them.
Right, Council President, just, it's not gonna be much of a presentation, it's just to give you more of a stats as to how many people have joined since. Just to go with the expectation part, just wanna make sure that, that was clear, put them on the spot.
No PowerPoint then?
No.
There you have one.
So do you want the fire?
Yes, please. Absolutely.
No PowerPoint. I didn't even get to type it up. We had a call this afternoon, but. John Cost, I'm the Fire Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner Jeff Anderson, Deputy Chief James Roberto from Company One. So it's a fairly new program. We just did our first, 2024 was our first year. But some of the stats that we have, from 23 to 24, we responded to 486 fire calls, which was a 11% increase from 2023. Of the membership, we had 59 members townwide qualified for the, earned the points for qualification for 2020. They range from members that were from ages 18 to over 80 years old, so we're getting new members and we're getting the old members are coming back out to help support. In 2024, we had 13 new members join the fire department.
Is that townwide, John?
Townwide, correct. All these stats are townwide between the 4 fire companies. And put it in perspective, from 2020 to 2022, we had 7 members join townwide. 2023 was our best year ever. We had 20 new members join. And the LoSAP is helping to encourage them. We put 19 members through the fire academy. 2 went to Passaic. The remaining went to Sussex County. They put in 290 hours of service to earn their certificates. Last year, that made up 48% of the trained members of the Sussex County Fire Academy were members of the Vernon Township Fire Service. And this year in 2025, we have 2 members, recruits in the Fire 1-2 class. And we have 7 members in that if the guys from last year and some older members are furthering their education in the fire officer development and chief officer. We have 7 members and according to the academy, that's 64% of those development classes are members of the Vernon Township Fire Service. So it's good. These members are joining, they're going through the education because they are the future of the fire service and the growth of the fire service. And of the calls that we responded, the 486, the fire service answered every single one. We didn't have to go. No mutual aid. One of the 4 fire companies respond to every call. From 23 to 24, we're getting about 50% more responding members out to every call. When you hear those numbers of 20 members joining, 13 and 59 qualified, you can see in the past that we were really struggling prior to the LoSAP program being introduced. And one of the key things I see is other than getting the older members that are out, getting guys, because a lot of the applications come through the fire commissioner. They're coming from other towns, they're moving to Vernon. Does the fire service need members? What do we have to offer? We're even getting some retired career guys and some active career guys joining to help serve the town of Vernon. In the data that shows that we we have a program that tracks all of our hours because you have to earn the 100 points. So we had about 500 hours, a little over 500 hours of community service and mandatory training that the members went to. They included the car show, trunk or treat, the tree lighting, multiple fireworks standbys, the community garden water tank down at on 517. We keep that filled once or twice a week, especially this fall when it was really dry. It was quite often. Like I said before, we had the largest growth in the fire service within the county of Sussex, which in turn, we've actually been added. Different fire companies have been added to help mutual aid to the surrounding towns because Vernon Town is and getting trucks on the road, especially during the day when it's a little lackluster for everyone, and some of the surrounding towns are using the help. And once again, a lot of it is has to do with the administration and the council supporting the fire service. Helps give a positive attitude back from the top through the membership, the ranks through the membership. It just gives the guys a positive attitude that want to come out and serve the citizens of Vernon. If anyone has any questions, that's pretty much, they said it's only 1 year in, so hard to get too good at data, but it's drastically improving. There used to be a time, and I can only speak on behalf of Pocha, we get a call and there 3 or 4 guys would be all that showed up.
Right.
Now the trucks are rolling out and there's not enough seats.
Yeah.
That's great.
Impressive numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is working.
Yep. Ambulance squad, the same thing? They're
The ambulance squad, yeah,
Yeah, they're-
Kevin has his, they're getting
getting extra.
similar.
I think they added over close to 30 members this past.
30.
Yeah, 32 members. He said today 32 members have enrolled.
They're definitely seeing an increase as well.
And we're seeing on the calls that we're running together.
Right.
Normally they had 2 on the rig, now they're up to 3 or 4, and even getting 2 to 3 rigs out.
Right.
During a night where sometimes they even struggle to get 1.
Yeah.
They're just as busy.
Really works, huh?
Yeah.
You guys made it work, yeah.
Yeah, it's helping.
Yeah.
And the other surrounding towns are noticing it too. Like he was saying, we're getting added mutual aid onto different box alarms for our surrounding towns because they're seeing that we're able to get trucks to the road. We're able to go out and help out the other surrounding towns as well. So
Great.
There's been a couple fires that we went mutual aid where 50% of the work and the command staff was done by Vernon Township.
Right.
And we've been added to box alarms as far away as Branchville. We go mutual aid to Warwick on a pretty regular basis, Pine Island,
Pine Island,
Yeah.
All right.
Hardiston. Most of us are on a box alarm for Hardiston, Hamburg, and Franklin.
Great job.
What kind of response do you get from a high school?
I would say probably of those 13 members, probably 4 to 5 of them were from high school that weren't generational. They were just coming,
yeah.
either seeing friends or we've set recruitments up at the college fairs. So I'd say probably in that last group of 13, it was 4 to 5 of them were from the high school.
They usually come in a group, like one joins and
Yeah.
He brings
friends join, and
What's their retention on it? Do they generally stay with it?
most of those have went through the fire.
Mhm.
The fire 1 and 2 is a combined class now, 280 hours.
Yeah, and if they are moving on, they're usually getting career jobs. Back, we just had one that's going to Bethlehem. We've previously had some that went to South Carolina, North Carolina, or even as far as Florida.
And we're getting feedback from those departments that they're getting hired from and saying, well, wherever you came from, they did a really good job of teaching you. So
Well, it's even better.
Nice.
we're getting good feedback from.
And one of the lead instructors at the academy, like you hear the numbers, like we're sending the most people to the fire academy. Like those numbers are constantly there. Like we had a big class of 42 and we made up almost 28% of it.
The improvement for sure.
Oh, guys, that's awesome.
Out of the surrounding towns, how many of them have low SAP?
All but Hamburg, I believe.
Yeah.
have.
Yes.
Now, have they seen any type of impact similar to Vernon's or not quite as much?
A lot of them have had it for,
A couple
came out
years.
and
Yeah, it's
as far back as 2000.
This one was Hardiston, but they seen it post-COVID is when their numbers went up. They seen a lot of people either moving in the town but they were probably 21 year, but they're down to like 1 or 2 per year.
Hmm.
And we're also getting people moving into town that are members as well. It's good because we're not training, we're just training them how Vernon works. And we're uploading some of them are turning around in the week. As long as it passes, everything makes the background check, they're running the rigs.
You said that's a lot to ask of a career guy. Sometimes don't want to volunteer, do enough for work, and with getting them to join and or retired guys to not hang up their hats and want to come continue to help is huge. It's like Jimmy said, they're trained
Yeah.
Go through the application process and we get them some gear and they're good to go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Any
it.
other questions?
Thanks for getting that information together.
Thanks, look, that's helping the surrounding area, just for the council. One of the things that I worked, with the commissioner and Thomas Anderson here, about doing, a shared service with Hardison, those conversations are happening right now, because it takes Hardison, I think, 20 minutes to reach, say, like the Crystal Springs, and they don't have a ladder truck, so it's one of those things where you may be able to help in some way, maybe make that a couple of bucks in the process. The ongoing conversation, but my comment to you guys is again, thank you again for everything you guys do, the sacrifice you give every day.
Yes, and
Mr. Benedetto, do you have any question?
No questions.
I said, thank you for your support. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Mayor's comment?
Mr. President, I just learned about, Alan Mixner, so my condolences to the family. The only thing I have is the Hometown Heroes program. If we can try to get, we're looking to send in all the, applications to the program so we can get that ordered. So by the end of the week, we're hoping to close that up for now. And then, so we can get our order in, that's where we can get those banners
Okay.
ordered and out.
We're talking about the flags, right? Not.
Yeah. I never filled mine out. I have it on my desk. I'm gonna do it.
Banners.
Did you-
Tell Michelle I'll do, I have it on my desk. I just haven't filled it out, but I'll do it.
Well,
Okay.
that's it, that's what.
Thank you. May I have a motion to open the floor for public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by our Vice President, Mrs. Bucieri, and is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Higgins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Floor is open to the public for items on the agenda only. And you're limited to 3 minutes.
Hi, Sherry Shortway, coming up here at this time to see if you allow me to speak on Ellen Meixner since I brought it up, even though it's not on the agenda. Thank you. And thank you for the moment of silence as well. Ellen Meixner was a fixture in Vernon for over 40 years, where she and her husband Bob raised their 5 sons. Throughout that time, Ellen's commitment to her family and community was unwavering, and she gave so much of herself to the town that she loved. Ellen passed away on January 30th after a long and hard-fought battle with cancer. Ellen dedicated much of her life to serving others. Ellen and Bob were one of the founding members of the Vernon Lacrosse Foundation, raising funds through car washes, bake sales, raffles, and more. Because of their dedication and commitment to the youth of Vernon, thousands of children have had the opportunity to play lacrosse. They were also involved in the soccer program in town as well. She worked as an aide in Rolling Hills, volunteered with the beautification committee. I would often see her and speak almost daily out in August with buckets of water, watering the planters because that was her job. She was involved with the Blue Elf program. And even when faced with her own health battles, she continued to put others first. During the COVID pandemic, she delivered meals to seniors every day, despite the fact that she was a senior herself and battling cancer. In recognition of her selfless efforts, Ellen was named Vernon Senior of the Year in 2021, and in 2022, Congressman Gottheimer honored her as Vernon's hometown hero. Ellen was also a Sussex County Senior Olympian and regularly volunteered at the Vernon United Methodist Church Food Pantry, where her kindness and humility were evident to everyone who knew her and came across her. These accomplishments are just a glimpse of Ellen's many contributions, but they don't capture the full extent of her impact. Ellen's kindness and generosity touched countless lives in ways both seen and unseen. To honor Ellen and the legacy of love, service, and compassion she leaves behind in the Vernon community and beyond, I offer my condolences to her friends and her family members. And thank you for letting me speak on her behalf.
Thank you. You're welcome. Is there anyone else wishing to come forward?
My name is Carl Contino, and I am a student who Mrs. Meixner left an impact on during her time working at Rolling Hills. I worked with Mrs. Meixner when I was in the second grade, when I had Mrs. Sparta as my teacher. And there were things that I struggled with. I was a handful of a student, and there were things that I was very good at and things that I was very bad at. And Mrs. Meixner would pull me out and work one-on-one with me. And I remember her warmth and her empathy and her ability to make those topics that I struggled with and those things that I wasn't very good at enjoyable. She made me feel like there wasn't anything wrong with me. And there's a lot of teachers that you don't remember. I can speak as a teacher. There's a lot of teachers who you see, a lot of lessons that you learn, and then they go into a filing cabinet in your brain and you never think about them again. But I will never forget Mrs. Meixner and the impact she left on me. And she will definitely be missed. Thank you.
Welcome. You need no introduction.
For the record,
How you doing?
for the record.
Mr. Council President,
Would you please?
I'm Howard Brill and I live in Glenwood. I used to live right across from the council president, but he chose to move. He was an excellent neighbor. Council President Rizzuto, I'd like to thank you for your very gracious comments. And to you and other members of the council, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak. I come here tonight as part of a group of citizens who desire, as you did, to recognize the kind and caring contribution of one of our own who did what I call completed her walk across the stage of life. I speak, of course, of Ellen Meixner. During the years that I had the privilege of serving the people of Vernon as their mayor, among the times that I enjoyed the most were those times when I would join in events with those members of the Vernon Township family who had actually withstood the slings and arrows of life to the extent that they had earned the right of being called senior citizens. And the most special of these times were those annual opportunities that I had the honor of announcing the name of the unique individual that the Vernon's group of senior citizens had elected as the town's senior of the year. And while I had known Mrs. Meixner for years, it was in her capacity as Vernon's 2001 Senior of the Year that I began to greatly appreciate and actually admire her immensely. Mrs. Meixner's Senior of the Year award was well deserved. She was a very special person. She was one of the first individuals to join an energized group of volunteers that came to be known throughout our town as the Vernon Cares organization. This was a dynamic organization that put together a free food network during the period of the mental, the emotional, and the physical burdens caused by the awful COVID-19 pandemic that hit the world, that hit our country, that hit our state, our county, and of course hit our town during the first year that I was mayor. This organization that Mrs. Meixner was a part of provided free meals 7 days per week with the goal of ensuring that no one in our community who was in need of food went hungry. And Mrs. Meixner was not simply an individual whose name was on the membership roll of this organization. She was an active, working, serving member. In fact, during the very early days of the shutdown created by this COVID pandemic, Mrs. Meixner began delivering meals to those homebound Vernon seniors on a daily basis. She also supported our senior citizen community by taking some of the seniors shopping and by taking them to doctor visits.
She also served as a vital member of one of our town's most highly recognized and highly praised committees, the Vernon Beautification Committee, and volunteered weekly at the Vernon United Methodist Church Pantry by shopping, by organizing and distributing food to the hundreds of people who were in need of these services. It was during the year 2021 that our town began the enhanced recognition practice of having the street sign bearing the name of the senior of the year that is posted at the driveway entrance to the senior center side of the municipal center. And it was Mrs. Meixner who was the first senior of the year to be awarded this special recognition. Let me close by sharing with you three of the comments from the multiple individuals who nominated her for the 2020 senior year. This comes directly from her application. One individual who nominated her said, "Everyone who crosses her path is greeted with kindness and generosity." Another individual who nominated her said, "She is always finding time for others and for lending a helping hand." And the third individual who nominated her said, "She carries a happy, giving spirit everywhere she goes." You know, while I know firsthand that Vernon has a plethora of outstanding citizens, this is a great town with great people. I come here tonight to join with others in paying recognition to Mrs. Ellen Meixner for the unique and caring role that she played in making Vernon Township a more kinder and a more caring place to live and to raise a family. Thank you very much for all you do, and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Howard.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Seeing no one else coming before the council, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor to the public.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries. All members of the council have received copies of the rules list. Anyone have any comments or questions on it?
No, I do, I don't really have a question about this particular bill, but, I see the snow, some snow plowing payments made here. And I know Brad has mentioned it a few times. You're just getting a comparison on, before we had this program.
I actually had a conversation with Mayor and Danell a week and a half ago.
Oh, okay. So when I was away.
I was actually down in North Carolina when I had it, so and just to fill the public in as to what some of the hurdles are with trying to do that. Those reimbursements are made on an annual basis, so nothing came in at
Oh, per storm?
per storm or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
So the conversation that we had together, I think going forward, I think we need to start to analyze like how much this is costing us, either on a per storm basis, per inch basis, or per
Yeah.
mile basis, or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Because I and Danell and the mayor all feel that you don't know if you make the right decisions unless you analyze it out and go
Yeah,
from there.
exactly.
It might be a situation where after a few years, we have some good data that we can look at saying, hey, maybe if we go ahead and have the equipment and the manpower, we could do it ourselves for cheaper than what the bid process is. So
Yeah.
that's something that obviously is going to take a few years to kind of work itself out, so we get enough data for it. But it was a good conversation. I appreciate the mayor putting that together where we could talk, and I think the three of us, I think we're kind of on the same page at the end of the conversation. So.
Okay, all right, I didn't know that. That's good to know. Well, you have to compare apples to apples.
You gotta have that
Yeah.
conversation. Just giving it straight.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Thanks.
Thanks for bringing it up. I didn't have it on my list for this after comments, so thanks, Natalie.
And
Moving on, to our consent agenda. Members of the council may ask me to separate any particular resolution they would like.
2573.
2573.
Oh, I was gonna pull that one. Thank you.
2576.
76.
I didn't have any question on 2578. I just want to make a statement. So I'll say 2578 just as a general statement.
Okay. 2578. Right,
2583.
2583.
Twenty-five eighty-five.
2585. Why don't I just, we'll do the whole group. Resolution 2572, authorizing change order number 1, contract for proposed improvements for Maple Grange Park lower parking lot with Denville Line Painting Incorporated. May I have a motion to put that on the agenda, on the floor for consideration?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. Any comments or questions on this? Roll call.
Member Bushieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins? Member Sparta?
Yes.
President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Carries.
Resolution 2573, the resolution authorizing the hiring of an energy audit solar power purchase agreement consultant through the competitive contracting process. May I have a motion to place this on the floor?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by
She can go, Ms. Di Benedetto.
by Mrs. Di Benedetto.
She's delayed, so she got before me.
Okay. We'll give you the 3-second delay advantage.
Nobody say anything for 3 seconds.
You have questions on this?
Yeah, so this is a resolution authorizing the hiring of an energy consultant agreement. Are we as a town considering a purchase of solar? Are we considering just looking at all the options? What are we exactly looking at?
Well, this audit will give us, hopefully those options, right? But I do not want to purchase solar, but there are companies that do offer, free solar, all that stuff. No, I mean, I had one company, just one company came in and offered to do, you buy all the panels and you manage it yourself for probably a couple of $1 million, or they'll put the panels in and they'll manage it. And we just, we get all that stuff. And that's exactly the way I would want to go. I don't want to manage solar panels. But we have to do this audit first, I believe, to see what our options are, and then see what we can save. And then we go from there.
Good, makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was hoping to hear rather than already having a decision.
I asked Irene, but she didn't, I'm gonna get the dollar amount what we're spending.
For the consultant.
At least for the 3 buildings here. So we'll see what those numbers look like.
Have you reached out to JCP&L? Because as part of the BPU, they should be doing an energy audit for nothing for us.
JCP&L keeps telling us that that they don't do that. Like, are you talking about all the lighting and everything, or just an actual audit itself?
An energy audit would come in and analyze what you have as far as lighting goes, heat sources, so on and so forth. And will tell you, like, these are fluorescent lights, you need to replace the ballasts with LEDs, so on and so forth. So as part of the BPU, they have to.
We've never had that.
Yeah, I think that's rather than paying somebody to do it, I think the first step should be for.
We'll look at all.
Yeah. And the energy audit is essential before you do solar anyway, because you have to have your energy uses down to acceptable levels. before you can have your solar designed. Because you can't be producing more than what you use, otherwise you're a purveyor.
I have a quick question though. So this is to find someone to do the energy audit. Would the person who's doing the energy audit also be the person who's selling us the solar?
No,
Because that doesn't seem
No, it,
legitimate, right? Like it should be completely different people. But it says for contract law for an energy audit and solar power purchase agreement consultant.
so they would just come back and tell us, like, if we would benefit from having a solar company or not.
Or not.
They or not.
They're not employed by a solar company. Okay, I just want to make sure we're not getting a consultant from somebody who's employed by a solar company.
well, having gone through the mechanics and
Mhm.
process of putting solar on, I wouldn't want to do it again.
I don't really think it's worth it, quite honestly. I mean, I don't mind exploring it. I just,
Mine went down substantially.
it went down. I mean, it might go down, but I think the cost of the panels, well, you didn't pay for the panels.
Yeah,
did
if you
the
do
solar?
PPA, you don't have to worry about the
The
cost.
power purchasing agreement. which-
Yeah, so if you're not paying for the
We're
panels,
not paying for the panels.
And also look at it too.
I got other issues with it. I'll keep it to myself.
Charging stations too, is
No. Mm-mm.
there is no charging stations in this area. I think Middletown, New York, and Sparta is the only ones.
Are we obligated to provide charging stations?
No, but the reason why, because I'm thinking is because we have, we're like a resort town, right? So we have people coming from all
Mhm.
over. It'd be nice to have that charging station.
And I look at that like a gas station, right? Like if there's a need for it, some business owner would, at a gas station, maybe add a charging station. I mean, it doesn't.
New construction, I think there's a requirement for
There is,
parking.
right, so the
The new
55-unit building is gonna have charging stations, but I don't know if that's gonna be just open.
I don't think it's public, no.
To pay for it, though. It's not, yeah, you have to
I don't
pay.
know if it is on their property, if it's gonna be one of those situations where it's just for.
It's just for it might be. I mean, we have charging stations at my office building, but they're only for employees and guests at our,
I think the new building plus 55 is gonna have charging.
There used to be the charge station by Smokies. I don't think it works anymore.
No, they don't work anymore. And then again, that was just for Smokies.
I think they ran out of power.
I would think people could just pull in there and pay for it, no? I mean, it doesn't work anymore, so I don't know.
So if we can get the charging stations in.
If it doesn't cost us any money.
There's,
Yeah,
there's,
If we can.
there's grants available for it.
I'm just not a fan of like,
And I don't know if
that's,
we can make money on as well.
Mm.
I don't know how that works.
yeah, well, and then like, there's maintenance and insurance and other things, so I'm just, feel like that's a private enterprise. It's gas, right? Like it's energy.
So Tesla has gone around on certain sites and they actually go to a strip mall and try to get in the strip mall,
Mhm.
some space and
Oh,
they'll put
okay,
in,
yeah.
they'll put in those chargers. But they're, as to your point, they're making money off
They're
the
making money,
electricity,
yeah.
plus it brings people to those different
Mhm.
locations.
AMC movie theater has a ton of those, and Rockaway, the AMC movie theater has a ton. I just feel like that's a private business venture, I don't feel like
Yeah,
you
but-
should be in the business of giving people energy for their cars.
Yeah.
Mr. Sparta's point, there are, the state has given grants out,
Okay,
but it's for the construction and then you really have to look at the grant because in the future, then you may have built
Maintenance.
of liability, but it may be a
Yeah.
good thing too.
okay.
But there are those
Can't
options.
hurt to look into it.
So, sorry, can I just ask, so, because Brad mentioned that we can have JCP&L do a no-cost audit, right? So then why would we hire someone?
I
Well,
think,
we can have all the options, but I mean, this is just
It's just going out for bid.
yeah, this is just.
Okay, but,
We're
okay.
not doing anything yet, so, but, I really thought we did an energy audit a long time ago, but,
I don't know. I don't remember.
But then prior to me.
yeah. Okay. Where's the last one? Oh, man,
You just had two of them here.
But, yeah, obviously, we don't wanna pay for any of the stuff.
No,
So,
we don't have to.
yeah. All the time. Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Councilmember Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
No?
Councilmember Higgins,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-74, approving a solicitor's permit for renewal by Anderson. May I have this in the form of a motion? Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Any questions or comments on this? Not roll call?
Councilmember Di Benedetto,
Yes.
Councilmember Bucieri.
Miss Mia, yes.
Sorry. Councilmember Higgins, Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-75, a resolution authorizing fireworks to be displayed within the township of Vernon in 2025. May I have a motion to place this on the floor for consideration?
I'll make second,
Mr. Higgins, is there a second?
second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. I believe this particular action was taken in response to
Yeah, that was fast, guys.
Mr. Sparta's.
Identified, problem solved. I like it. Very good.
It'll all be that way, right?
I know, it should all be that easy, a one pager too, like
Is there any comments? Questions?
everybody knows when the fireworks are now. I don't want to see people posting on Facebook
Here we go.
asking when, because it's right here.
There it goes. Roll call, please.
Member Bucieri.
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto,
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta.
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-76, a resolution renewing life and accidental death and dismemberment policy for eligible employees through the Standard Insurance Company. May I have a motion to place this on the floor?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second,
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Any comments?
Yeah, the comments were, this is probably a sizable contract. And were there other competitors, other bidders? How was the process unfolded? How did it happen?
No, this is our company that we have right now, and the renewal to keep them on is not costing us any more. It's the same amount.
Well, it's not costing any more.
Right.
But you don't know if it costs less if you went out to bid.
We did not go out to bid for this.
And that's the rationale why, because it was just a flat contract with no,
Yes, we have the contract for another year. We need to renew our contract with them.
oh, we still have another year on a contract, okay.
So we have, this contract period will take us from this year to next year.
Then after that, do we go?
It's for the unions.
This is for
All employees?
employees.
And
you had
then,
the option of not renewing though.
no, we had a contract.
For the renewal year, the contract's out.
Oh,
So this is to go forward.
okay. Gotcha. I thought we had like one more year on the contract. I misunderstood you. Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Councilmember Bucieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto,
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins,
No.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-77, appointment of a municipal housing liaison. May I have a motion to place this on the floor?
Move.
Moved by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Higgins. I believe this is a reference to the revised housing agreement for municipal housing. And may I have any comments, questions?
No, it's a requirement, right?
Yes.
So it just comes down to a matter of who
Who it is, yeah.
not be doing.
This is Mrs. Jessica
Caldwell.
Caldwell.
We were originally supposed to have like, I think, 300 housing units, and I think it's down to what, one.
No, this is just a liaison. This is just-
Oh, the liaison,
Yeah.
my
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bucieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta?
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-78, a refund for totally disabled veteran, amended residence number 24-297, block 73, Lot Williams. And I have a motion to place this on the floor. Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Sparta. Any comments on this?
Yeah, the comments weren't specifically about this gentleman, whoever Mr. Williams is. It was about a discussion that we had with our attorney as to the large number of veterans that are now being approved over the years of not paying taxes. Nothing to do with whether they deserve it or not. They deserve it if they're disabled, not a question. Really comes down to state law was my question. So Mr. King answered that it is a state law, but he's going to investigate what options we have as a town of giving 100%, 50%, none, how, and also how it impacts our finances. There's a question that came up, is the state going to reimburse us for any of this?
If it exists.
There was just a bill introduced as part of that small town, like, Assembly Mike and Gettimore did it. Where that's one of the things he's asking is a reimbursement. Are you done, Bill?
Yeah, no, that was what I was leading to.
Just if you can also find out one other question, because I know we actually do a retroactive back to, I believe, when the application is in.
Mhm.
And I believe that is a local decision and it's not part of the state decision. Can we just verify which one that is?
Yeah.
'Cause I know there was an issue with some towns that were holding off approvals until after a quarterly tax bill was done. So I'm not sure if that is local or state.
Then I think there's a local,
Yeah.
but
That one probably would be, because it would be when they get it, when they come to the town, that's when it triggers. I don't think.
When the
But I'll find out.
Council President, I don't remember, I don't know if you remember, we went down to the League of Municipalities.
Right.
To that
Class.
and I think there was like 14 bills that went in regards to this, and they were all different, like give some back, a little bit back, and every single one of them has just failed. So that's.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think of anything. I don't want to give us anything back.
I believe there is nothing on that,
Mhm.
and there was 14, I don't know if it's that number, but there was a lot of attempts, different bills that went to try to, back to the municipalities. And every
But-
single one of them.
at the conference that we attended Saturday, the
Breakfast conference. It was brought up that
once again, these bills are being pushed forward because I kind of think that not only our voices are being raised, but the voices of a lot of other communities that are feeling the pinch on this.
Right, it's sizable money now.
It's sizable money and I don't think anybody really feels badly, or not badly, but is resistant to
recognizing
what these veterans gave to deserve this, quite the contrary. But I think this becomes an unfunded mandate.
Absolutely.
As our attorney and
Mr. Sparta were talking about.
And having been on the Board of Education for a while, and you guys were on the board,
And no, lady,
call me
it is something that has to be addressed because it's kind of like, we're gonna ask you to teach more of this. And we also want you to teach a segment on what goes on in some particular other issue, but they don't extend the day. And they're complaining about why aren't we getting the proper results in math, the proper results in reading, you're diluting that day. And I think this is, again, one of the situations that needs to be addressed. So hopefully somebody will do something about it. And I know one of the things that I'm happy to hear is that since we have a lot of wood that's being, we look at trees and everything, that there's this bill that's being passed that's going to require a permit to cut down trees in your own community, on your own property. And I'm not about to go fight somebody on that. I mean, I don't have that anymore, so.
Mayor, if you could, I believe last January or so, Assemblyman Ganamore told me how much our taxes annualized were that had been forgiven for disabled veterans. I believe at that time it was something like $584,000. I mean, it was up there. And since then, I know we've approved a lot more. I think he has that number pretty readily available. If you could possibly reach out to him and ask him if he has an updated number for us. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Oh, it was, just the last comment was, I had a question previously. Some of these questions are people, residents that call me on their voice, right? So they were seeing a name, Logix come up often. And the question was, how can they own so many places? Well, it turns out they don't. It's a company that's buying properties, and they weren't being given total amnesty on paying taxes. They were given a refund if there was a difference between the costs when they bought it and they bought the lien. So that was not an individual. That was, and the last thing is if a property is deemed to be owned by a veteran that doesn't have to pay taxes, sold to another veteran, sold to yet another person, are they tracked properly? Do we know that once it's on the roll as not being charged on taxes, is the new buyer someone that automatically gets scrutinized, or is there anything in process to make sure that we keep track of whenever property sold, are we then back on the tax rolls?
I think they have to apply every year. Right, I think it has to go through a process, so even if it did, I think it goes back to the individual.
Not
So much, but
I don't know.
One time.
I don't think so. I don't think these have to be reapplied. I think you probably just file a new deed and a new mortgage.
So if you're 100% disabled, that's a determination that stays with you.
Right.
But when that veteran would sell their house, then the tax assessor would they would look at the property, there would be new owners, the new deed, and then they would send that to the
tax
new
bill.
person. Exactly.
Yeah.
So internally.
And that person would have to
pay taxes.
pay taxes until they show their right for a.
Right. I'll use an example because the person who called me and asked me that question said they have knowledge of a home that was exactly that situation. I'm gonna get the tax information, find out who had it, who sold it, and if the current owner is actually paying. And we'll follow that one through.
Yeah, follow it through because they should.
But it was a sizable tax bill. It was 12,900 for $10,000. So,
if you could send that to me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get that.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Bushieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta?
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Take resolutions 25-79 through 25-82 in a block. Refund for totally disabled veteran, block 73, lot 4, Williams. Resolution 25-80, refund for totally disabled veteran, block 120, lot 3, Carnegie. Resolution 25-81, refund for totally disabled veteran, block 48, lot 13, Craig. And resolution 25-82, refund for totally disabled block 206, lot 14. And this particular individual is redacted. May I have this in the form of a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Bucieri, seconded by Mr. Sparta. All in favor? I'm sorry, roll call.
Councilmember Bushieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta.
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-83, a resolution of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, amending the award of bid 12R-2024 fire suppression bid. May I have this in the form of a motion?
Moved.
Moved by, excuse me, moved by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Sparta. Comment on this?
Yeah, this was on the list of what I asked. So this was discussed at the last meeting where it was a single bid for a fire suppression system. The conversation was about why was it a single bidder? The answer was they're the only ones that bid, I guess. So my next question is, Tina, as a BA, are you the purchasing agent for the town or is it a separate purchasing agent?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so there's a separate persons. The reason I have some large towns have a separate agency or an agent that we pay separately because you need a license to actually purchase. You know, you have to be trained and so whoever our purchasing agent is, we pay them. And apparently they made a mistake. So the mistake was, it wasn't $40-some thousand, it was $79,000.
I'm sorry, the mistake was on the resolution that you approved. The wrong amount was on the resolution, not the QTA didn't make a mistake. It was
just put on that paperwork.
resolution.
Instead of saying 79, it was just a typo.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Thank you.
Cannon.
Sean Canning, yeah.
They. Well known, and very well respected and throughout the state of New Jersey.
Right.
I think, they just went out to, well, I know that there's a history of that the county group can always provide. I know there's always been this question about how many people this goes out to. And they actually have the audit trail of how many contractors or vendors that this stuff goes out to. It's a question of someone just bidding on it, right? It's like eBay, right? You can't force people to bid on.
So that the board, council knows, I asked our clerk to send out to all members of the council a copy of the purchasing manual. It's, so you've all received it or should have received it. It's sent by, online. And if you want to, you can review the process on it. I don't know, have you gone through anything with the state on purchasing?
I have personal experience for the last 20 years using purchasing contracts.
Yeah, and it's in I've done the same thing and it's the craziest things are required and they can invalidate a particular, submission of a bid.
Right.
And there is no opportunity to cure it. I mean, if you happen to be there and forget, or somebody doesn't allow you or tell you that you can't be doing business with a particular country in the Persian Gulf, and you happen to forget about that, too bad, you can't.
Right.
So, I mean, there are any number of things that happen, but that was just one of them.
I just want to read the one line in here because it says the resolution in preparation by the qualified purchasing agent inadvertently inserted the incorrect number of bid. So I didn't want the public to think that was made by anybody in the municipal building, but rather by the qualified purchasing agent. So just because when Marcy said it, a lot of times Marcy does the resolutions, but in this case, she did not do it. It was done by the qualified purchasing agent. So it wasn't an internal thing. It was from somebody outside.
No, anybody else? Okay. Roll call?
Councilmember Bucieri.
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto.
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta.
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-84, a resolution adopting and establishing a police department rules and regulations policy. May I have this in the form of a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Sparta. Roll call?
Councilmember Bushieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto,
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-85, a resolution authorizing leasing of certain vehicles for the Department of Public Works through Sourcewell National Cooperative, number 060618-EFM through Enterprise Fleet Management Services Incorporated. Quote number 8390-830. 889-09-0894. And 84-11-952 and 83-90-827 and 86-33-73. May I have this in the form of a motion? Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. Comments on this?
Yes, now that we're on the subject of purchasing, and as soon as I saw Sourcewell, I, on a personal basis, have used them. So here's the way the system works. We, as a municipality, decide that we want to do business with Enterprise Rental Car. That's fine. That's our choice. And Enterprise, as a large company, can, if they want to, have their own contract. They can go out, go through all the efforts of writing a acceptable contract, spread it around the United States, let everybody know that Enterprise Rent-A-Car has a contract. That makes it easy for a purchasing agent to use their over a competitor because they've already got the contract, it's an approved number. If you don't have a contract, then the purchasing agent can use another source. There are companies, and Sourcewell is one of those companies that is in the business of writing contracts, going around to the various towns, municipalities in the United States, saying, here's a purchasing vehicle for you, Mr. Purchasing Agent, to use. They charge for that. So we're using Sourcewell, and we're buying something or leasing something through Enterprise. And Sourcewell, from my experience in my business, charges about 14%. So if Enterprise had a contract of their own, and we use their contract, it would be 14% less. We're paying Sourcewell to use our contract. I'm not saying it's right, wrong. I'm just explaining how the system works. That's what it's all about. There's a cost to everything. So Sourcewell happens to be one of the larger ones.
Just looking through the individual vehicles that are being leased here. There's a couple of F-450 chassis. I think there's 3 of them in here total. And 2 are 4-wheel drive, or 1 is 4-wheel drive and 2 are 2-wheel drives. Why would we not get for 4-wheel drive? I'm just curious.
I have no idea.
You know what, I spoke with Holly today, I think he said that some of the 4-wheel drives weren't necessary for what they're being used for. And I think some of these are just replacements of what they have.
So a lot of what the leasing program is, they're replacing the same exact vehicle.
Right.
So those vehicles have not been four-wheel drive. They could be just the ones that are plowing, maybe just going like for the parks and stuff, but I don't know
Oh, okay.
specifically which.
And those ones that are being replaced will eventually show up on an obsolete list that we're selling through municipal bids.
Or, no, not always. They just, with the leasing.
They turn them back.
Oh,
Take it
okay.
back. and
All right,
they
they take it
money for it,
Gotcha, okay.
And then it's put towards the next vehicle.
They actually get their money back. So.
Okay.
Both of us.
Good.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Bushieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto?
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins?
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta?
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 25-86, approving a charitable solicitor's permit, Vernon Emergency Medical Services, Inc. May I have this as a form of a motion?
Moved. Okay,
Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mrs. Jerry. Any comments? Questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Bushieri,
Yes.
Benedetto,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving to our ordinances. An ordinance, this is the adoption of an ordinance 25-04, an ordinance establishing the salaries for certain officers and employees of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey. May I have this in the form of a motion to open this up to the public?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
By Mrs. Bucieri, is there a second? By
Second.
Mr. Sparta. Floor is open to the public
For the
On the ordinance.
on the ordinance only.
Oh, okay.
So I actually do have a question about this ordinance because I was reading this. Ordinance establishing the salaries for certain officers and employees of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey.
And just for the record, your name.
Carl,
Thank you, Carl.
in that salary range, what metrics are we using or data are we using to establish where someone's salary falls within that range?
That
As an employee, and who is determining where an employee sits within that range?
the mayor.
Some of it is through contracts, and if they're not in a contract, then the mayor is the one that sets the salary.
Is there anything used, like, I'm just thinking as a public employee myself as a teacher, do we look at someone's performance or how long they've been there? Do they have tenure, things like that? Does that come into play in what determines their salary within that range?
Well, performance does, absolutely.
Performance.
And we also look at what the surrounding area is paying, so we kind of, it's a combination of a lot of things that go into it.
Do we use like a rubric or metrics or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what did I use to pull that data last time.
But so the legal municipalities they do surveys for communities, and that information is available. I think at the last meeting, that survey was attached to the ordinance, and it breaks down ranges in other like towns. And every town is not the same. Vernon is unique because you have the ski, the different large ski resorts here. Most towns don't have that. So this is almost like an Atlantic City of the north. So you have different, you can't compare Vernon to a town in, let's say, Morris County, Chatham Township. It's just different. So, but you look at that. And as the mayor said, it also should go by competency of that person, how much work they do, and those types of things.
So it's determined by a lot of external factors and then performance, but ultimately the decision is up to the mayor, right?
That's, yes.
Thank you.
Appointing, he's the appointing officer or agent, and he determines that.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing with no one else coming before the council, may I have a motion to close the floor to the public?
Moved.
Moved by Mrs. Bucieri, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Higgins. I noticed that I may have missed a step here, so I'll make a motion. I'll ask for a motion to place this on the floor
We have to,
for approval.
closing the public though.
The public is closed.
Oh, we didn't vote on it though.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 On the closing of this floor to the public, thank you. Opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to place this ordinance on the floor for passage?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri, is there? Second. Second by Mr. Higgins. Roll call.
Can I,
I'm sorry.
can I
you have
just
a
make one
comment?
comment? Yeah. At the last meeting, I asked the mayor, or Tina to forward us the 2024 salaries, no names, just positions. So that way we can see where they fell. So we did get that information. I appreciate that. I just wanted to put that out there, that we did get that.
Okay, one other comment. Mr. Mayor, last time I asked the question, do the people that are on the list receive a yearly written review? And
Yes.
is it, and that's accurate? They are? So a person that does an outstanding job may be compensated more than somebody that doesn't. Is that accurate?
We try to stay with the way the other employees, like the contractual ones, you know, like 2-3%. If there's a need for someone feels that maybe they're underpaid or they've been taking on a abundance amount of work, and then they can bring their case to me, and then they have to justify why they feel they may need more. And then I guess that 2-3% that and again, everything's case by case.
Have you had the incident in your year here that you've had to put someone on probation or a negative review?
Well, this is my first year, so probation, I think, is always, it's 3 months, right? But 3 months when you're first hired.
When you first hire.
Uh-huh.
But no, I haven't had to, I guess, recommend someone to not deny a raise or anything like that. We haven't.
I'm just trying to parallel it to management in the private industry as opposed to the union contracts that we voted on. If you're in the union, you're doing your job, you're gonna get the same as the person next to you doing their job. And I just wanted to know if it was the same way here in town government.
Yeah, we watch every dollar, so again, things are case by case.
And then the other comment is the salaries. Thank you very much for the current salaries. Just penciling those in. We're not within earshot of the max on any of the ones that I can see. So I guess the question would be, why would we change it? It seems like we're doing a pretty good job with the current minimum maximum, and we're within the guidelines.
There may be a couple that are touching that, or they will be. So then that's why we just, you know, you do it across the board. It doesn't mean they're gonna get, you know, this huge raise for that, but it does allow, again, it's all done, and as you can see, it's all done in one shot here, because there could be a couple of them, a few of them that maybe are gonna go touch that max at that point, so.
Yeah, I see one person that's $1,000 below the minimum. Everybody else is like right in the middle. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
No.
Roll call.
Councilmember Gutierrez.
Yes.
Di Benedetto.
No.
Councilmember Higgins.
No.
Councilmember Sparta.
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Carries.
May I have a motion to open the floor for public comment on any item?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Sparta. Floor is open for public comment on any comment.
We didn't vote.
I'm sorry. Guess I want to get out of here. Roll call, please.
Bucieri.
Yes.
Councilmember Di Benedetto.
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta.
Yes.
President Rizzuto.
Yes. Floor is open to the public.
Question about resolution 25-76, a resolution renewing the group life and accidental death and dismemberment policy for eligible employees through the Standard Insurance Company. In concurrence with what Mr. Higgins was saying, I was listening to that conversation. How come we didn't go out for bid?
That's it.
It's our life insurance that we've had, and we just renewed it.
So we just renewed what we had, but
Yes,
we could have gone out to bid if we wanted to.
It's a service. You're not necessarily required to go.
I know, it's just, okay. And just in what we were talking about before, about the salary range, I think in reflecting on what you guys said, and I'm just, because I'm here, I figure why not? The mayor is elected by the public, right? We don't have any requirements for becoming mayor. There's no professional requirements for being mayor. To be the one to determine performance and determine where someone falls in a salary by someone who doesn't have those qualifications, I just think if I had my boss who had never worked in the job I'm doing, determining that, I understand why you guys voted no. That's all I'm saying. And that's no disrespect to anyone, just my reflection on what we talked about. Thank you.
Welcome to this form of government.
I know.
I didn't vote for it,
Me neither.
but that's the problem with public.
Yeah, but with mayor council as.
That was the same problem with public government.
Well, what,
There isn't, you don't have to go to a school to become
no, he's elected.
an elected official.
But if you were.
But you do have to realize, though, that there are department heads
Yeah.
working and reporting to the mayor and to our business administrator who probably did that job. And I'm sure the mayor and Tina, although maybe never did the tax assessor's job, they take counsel from the head of that department in assessing the, the work of their employees. So they're not doing it without any feedback. You know what I mean? There's department heads that assist.
But as with the Board of Education, where people have no experience, they have no
Yes.
knowledge, excuse me, in determining how to evaluate a superintendent, which is always go down to.
And yet we did.
I know.
Because they do have classes.
And it's a much bigger budget.
And those same classes for evaluating personnel by members of the council or within the administrative offices, are given for people who don't have any experience, including people who have just been elected to an elected position and have had no experience in evaluating any individuals, in public government, because there is a difference.
Yes, I understand that completely, and we obviously take training in evaluating our superintendent, but we're evaluating just the superintendent, not municipal employees. We hire the superintendent and evaluate him, and doing that more akin to what the town manager would have done under a council manager form of government, right?
Not necessarily, because we don't evaluate anybody with the exception of our clerk. All right, because the clerk works only for the council. However, when you go to any of these conferences, if you go to, let's evaluate our business administrator, let's evaluate our incoming employees for CFOs and whatever else, they have the highest level of attendance because people had no experience in any of these. So they look for that type of instruction.
When we were under a council manager form of government, the council evaluated the manager, right? And the manager would be the one evaluating municipal employees, and they required a certain certification to be a town manager, correct? Okay, I'm not trying to offend anybody, or this is my thought process based on what I've been listening to, because if I'm gonna come to a town council meeting, I'm gonna sit there and listen and digest what's being said. So thank you for your answers.
Just to touch on, I think, just like any other, like CEOs, they don't really know exactly, say, what the janitor is doing.
Yeah.
But just to, I've been a senior global manager for some of the largest banks in the world.
This is not a question, your question is.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It's not a back and forth. It's not a debate.
Thank you.
I do lean on the business administrator and the department heads on evaluation of employees based on those things.
Thank you, Mayor.
Seeing no one else coming forward, may I have a motion, close the floor to the public? Moved by Mr. Bart, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Higgins, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Hi.
thank you, motion carries. Council comments,
Big topic, Mr. Mayor, the budget. When are we gonna see a budget?
I just got a copy of it, Friday, so I haven't, looked at the double dog sick today, so I haven't had a chance to really evaluate everything with her yet, so we'll get that. I think there's certain days and deadlines we have to get
Yeah,
that
it's
out.
getting, it's clear.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah, we'll get that out.
thank you.
What are those dates, you know, Mr. Rizzuto?
I think they're by I think it's by the first meeting, second meeting, I believe, in March.
Second meeting of March.
I believe, I'm not sure. I have to check.
Just coming up.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, please give us as much time as you can, because it's most important thing we do in the year.
You guys are always welcome.
Thank
you. Table, just, sit in.
Okay,
That was one of my campaign promises, that you guys are more than welcome to come in and sit down.
anything else?
That was it for me.
Mr. Sparta.
Just want to let council public know, next meeting I will not be here. I'll be out of the state, attending a conference, so. Just didn't want anybody to think if all hell broke loose in the next 2 weeks, I was avoiding a tough decision. I'll go on the record that I'm not gonna be here.
You taking your clubs?
No, no.
I'll be gone too. So we're down to 3 right
Oh,
now.
you'll be on too, okay. When,
I probably can come
on
in.
the tenth, right? We're meeting on the tenth?
Meeting on the tenth, yeah.
Okay.
And I can't Zoom. I'll be in a meeting that night, so I can't do it.
Oh, I'll be here on the tenth.
Mrs. Di Benedetto.
Yeah, I have a few comments. Regarding my no vote on 2573, the resolution, the hiring of the audit solar power purchase agreement consultant, my no vote on that is because I don't know why we wouldn't just, I understand we're not hiring somebody by going out to bid and we're not spending money, but on that person's audit, but I don't see why we wouldn't go with the free option first. My second no vote on the salaries, I got the information that we asked for last week this morning at 8. I didn't have time to review it. I worked up until the meeting today. So not only that, when I was not on council, I came to a council meeting and there was a similar vote and most folks were not near the top of their range and they still voted to extend it. And that upset me as a member of the public. So I remembered that tonight. And the third thing I want to say on a more positive note is I wanted to thank our volunteer firefighters for their presentation and for their service to our community each day. Not only for the obvious, firefighting that they do, but for their continued training they take to keep our community safer, the public events they attend. I live in Berry Lakes and we have Santa who comes around every year and it's the best. It's the best day of the year in Berry Lakes, in my opinion. And, and for a thank you to them for continuing to show up even after difficult calls. They are truly our local heroes, and I just wanted to say thank you to them. That's it.
Thank you. And I have no comment.
Nope, no comments. I'm good, thanks.
So I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Meeting-
Bye, Jessica.
Bye.
Peaceful meeting.
Are we on there?
Already gonna be at a.
It's actually a company dinner. Actually, what they do.
He's gonna be here.
And I on the Sussex World. And they have an after every year, so we rotate who goes. But what they do is they actually have like an entertainment night. They brought in